Hello, and welcome to Making Creativity Pay, the podcast where we talk to people in creative industries about how they promote and market their work. I'm Dan Barnett, and this episode I spoke with comedian Amanda Hursy. We talk about her upcoming debut fringe show Carted, her experience as being one of the members of last year's Best in Class cohort and what that entailed, as well as discussing moving into scripted comedy as well as stand-up. I started by asking Amanda to give a quick intro about herself.
So my name's Amanda Hursy and I'm a stand-up comic and writer from Glasgow. I've been doing stand-up probably for 4 years. August is my debut, so that's what I'm leading up to. And yeah, I kind of fell into comedy. Basically, I work a corporate job. I've always done sales. I've been in sales my whole life. And I went for a promotion and my manager told me that I needed more confidence presenting. And in true Glaswegian style, I thought, is that right? So I signed up to like an open mic to prove I'm wrong. And then I get booked back. So I've just kind of been going ever since. And it's, what a discovery. It's been great. So yeah, that's kind of what I do.
So before all that, did you have an itch before that you'd kind of never really explored, or was it just kind of, completely out of the blue?
It was probably, to be honest, out of the blue. Like I had done, like the closest thing I got to a stage was like the primary productions, like, nativity plays and stuff like that. So there was no desire to get on a stage and start chatting. I think coming from Glasgow though, everybody's got a good sense of humour, and it's probably a working class thing as well, where you need to learn to be able to have a laugh and take a joke. And I think it's just everybody's always kind of been funny around me. I guess I've always wanted to. I think when I was like maybe a young person, like maybe under 10, I wanted to be like an actor or something. But I quickly learned that it just felt a bit too far-fetched. I wanted to get a good job. I went to university and it was really important for me to get an education. So yeah, I think coming into comedy, it's not something that I thought I would ever do. But I'm glad I discovered it because I kind of fell in love with it, which was unexpected. I thought it was going to be just like a one-off gig. And yeah, I'm glad I've kept it up and looking forward to wherever it might lead.
First time I heard about you was through Best in Class. I don't know if you want to kind of talk a little bit about that and kind of the impact it's had on your comedy work.
Yeah, so that's great. Best in Class is an organisation that was set up in order to help working class comics get to the fringe. Now, it was a woman called Shan Davis who went to, she was a young comic herself looking to go to the Edinburgh Fringe, the biggest arts festival in the world. She got successful in an application, and then the organisers told her it was going to cost a couple of £1,000. So she done a fundraiser, and the organisers were a bit annoyed and told her that she lied about her finances. So she then done a crowdfund, and every year since, she'd been taking 8 comedians up to Edinburgh in order to experience the festival. So even though I'm from Glasgow, and Edinburgh is 55 minutes on a train on a good day, it's just so far away in terms of financial, how to get there, the cost of the fringe. It's just so expensive. Even though I've got my own accommodation in Glasgow, I don't need to worry about the accommodation costs. The fringe is just very much, priced out. So the Best in Class showcase was last year. I was on a lineup with brilliant acts, and I was able to learn from them. They were able to learn from me. And yeah, I done 12 days at the fringe, and it was like club comedy, club sets. So every single night doing 20 minutes or hosting and just becoming a better comedian, getting the confidence and learning how to deal with like international audiences. And it's gave me the push and the confidence to go for my debut this year. So yeah, I think without Best in Class, I would probably take me a lot longer to realise an ambition of actually doing it myself and going to put on a show. So I'm very grateful that I was selected for that. So they ask applicants to put in a video, and then there's the team at the Best in Class select you. So I was very excited to be part of it. And yeah, I met lots of really nice people, and they continue to support me even though there's a new bunch of recruits this year. So go and see them. But there is a network there, and I do feel really supported by the best in class community. So yeah, I think it's probably the best thing I've done in terms of getting confident to go it alone. And I would recommend it to anybody who is working class, who qualifies for that support. I would definitely recommend it. It was great.
Do you think it's made a big difference to your outlook in terms of you can kind of see all these other people and you kind of think, yes, it's not just me and A, it's not just me and B. It's not an unattainable thing. I can perform at the Fringe. I can do it.
Yeah, I guess, look, in Scotland, there's a lot of working class comedians anyway. There's a lot of working class successful comedians. I think, though, the landscape's changed a huge amount from when, you've had people coming through maybe 15, 20 years ago till now. I think the barriers of entry into comedy is difficult, and I think once you get into it, it's even more difficult to sustain, because as a normal, everyday person, without the contacts of people in the industry, I don't benefit from any sort of nepotism. And also, you're just at a disadvantage because you're having to juggle a full-time job. You need to take time off work to go and do the Fringe, and basically you don't have anybody to fall back on. All of the money that you put in is your own, and you've got no network as such. So I think the barriers of entry into comedy is still difficult, and as I learn, I had no idea that there was such things as a producer, a director, media teams, street teams. There's a whole list of things that people are shelling out money for, and I'm just not in a position to do that. So I think it is still difficult. However, I think being part of Best in Class was a good springboard. The good thing about that was they paid me for every gig, so I wasn't out of pocket at all last year, which was allowed me to reinvest in myself. So the money that I made at the Fringe last year, I put it towards getting my headshots and just reinvesting in my own comedy career. So yeah, I think that it's definitely made a huge impact. And I think without it, I would still go to the Fringe. I done PBH Fringe at my very first year. I done a split bill, and then I was part of a compilation show called Wholesome Prison Blues, which was myself and 5 guys went round the Scottish prison system and done comedy in there, and we took a showcase to Edinburgh. So it can be done, but it's just, I think without Best in Class, I would have probably took a lot longer to do my solo show. I realised last year that actually I can do it. And it was great fun. I had a great experience. So I think, yeah, that definitely made a huge difference.
Talking about Fringe this year, so it's end of April as we record this. So obviously I've seen various posts on Instagram, but 100 days to go. So it's probably even less than that now. You were one of the first tranche. So there's about 1,500 acts already up on the Fringe. Was not being part of that first kind of partly financial, in that obviously to do that you have to have all your money ready to go in February and everything ready, or was that just, you were kind of still getting stuff organised?
Well, to be honest, I didn't know I was going to do the Fringe this year. I would always have an ambition to go to the Fringe, and Best in Class obviously spurred me on to do it. However, the reality is that the Fringe is such a huge financial investment, and basically, although I feel ready as a comedian, I feel as if I've got a really strong show. The financial implications was whether, can I do it or can I not? At the start of the year, I lost my job. I lost my company car, which is my home. That's the only reason I can get around so many gigs, is because I'm able to utilise a company car and manage my time best, because I work in field sales, and I lost that job, I lost my car, and my financial situation completely changed. This is round about the time where your applications are going in. There was a lot of bursaries that I did apply for. I applied for every single bursary scheme, every single thing that I was eligible for, I applied for, and I got a no from every single one of them, so that was great. However, I then got a no from the Keep It Fringe Fund originally, and then I emailed them back and just says, oh, that's a shame, because I'm from Glasgow and I've got a really good show to debut, but good luck to every other applicant and best wishes, hopefully I'll catch a show. And then somebody either dropped out, I don't actually know what happened, but I got a phone call from a unknown number, and it was the Fringe Society telling me that actually they want to support me. So I benefited from the Keep It Fringe Fund, Well, I've not got my money yet, but I'm told it's coming. And then basically a venue reached out to me and offered me support. So I thought, well, do you know what? Why not? Let's go for it. So basically, by the time the first batch of people went out, I didn't really have my, I wasn't ready, basically. So obviously, if I had my finances in place and I knew for certain I was doing the Fringe, absolutely everything would have been done. And you would have benefited from that early release. However, you know, it's took me time to get my show together, my show title, the headshots, the poster idea, which has allowed me a wee bit extra time. So my show goes on sale on the 7th of May. Now, the benefit of that is, you know, it is what it is. Like, I don't have a huge social media following anyway. A lot of my shows are from word of mouth, and I will be flyering every single day myself. So I know that the people that are coming to my show have either seen it before or I'll flyer them in on that day. So I don't think it's going to impact me a huge deal anyway. I mean, it's going to be on sale in May. The Fringe is August. There's still a few months, you know. If people are that organised, fantastic. But I know that a lot of my sales will be on the day of, because I will be selling it myself in the street. Flyering, I am a good salesperson. I'm good at flyering, and I'm confident that I can get people in. So, you know, I don't feel too much impacted. However, it's definitely a result of the money, basically.
That makes sense. And so are you doing the full month?
I'm doing the full month. I'm not taking a day off. I don't know if that's madness, but basically, yeah, every single day I'll be at the Gilded Balloon, 6:20 p.m. at the Patter House Penny Room, and my show is called Carted. It's all about the funny side of failure, my multiple arrests, how society judges you, and basically try to escape the past. So I think it'll be a good laugh, and I'm going to try and I'm going to take the first week off my work to give myself a good chance, and I'm really looking forward to it. I really enjoyed the Fringe last year. And yeah, full run, why not? Baptism of fire, like, why not?
And in terms of the time, obviously 6:20's probably a nice time in terms of, you know, logistics and fitting in with work, because obviously then you can still get home. You know, if you're doing like an 11 o'clock at night show, that'd be hard. If you're doing a 3 o'clock in the afternoon, that'd be difficult for work. So, I mean, was it difficult to get that time, or were you kind of lucky on that?
To be honest, like, I flyered last year at the same venue for a couple of different acts, and I felt as though the afternoon was a really good time, because especially if you're unknown, people might take a chance on a new act. However, realistically, I'm really grateful that the 6:20 slot was mine, because it means that people can come and see me from their work. Like, I'm hoping that a Scottish audience comes to Edinburgh comes to see me during the week. I know that weekends will have, you know, there'll be a lot more people, but I think midweek it allows people that I know and Scottish people to come and watch a show after their work. It also allows the tourists to, you know, before they make their evening plans or before they go and see a headliner, maybe they've saw somebody on TV or whatever. I'm hoping that I can target that type of customer. So yeah, I think it is a decent time. I think the footfall in that area is busy, and it's the first time I've ever done a paid Fringe venue. Previously, it's always been free Fringe, so, you know, I know how good the free Fringe is, and I'm asking people for money this time. However, I just need to make sure that on the lead up to Edinburgh, I'm doing a lot of work in progresses, and I know that people are going to get their money's worth. So I think 6:20 is a decent time, and I'm hoping that I get bums on seats, basically.
You say, you know, you kind of done flyering for shows before. I mean, what in your experience is kind of the key thing to turn a potential into a, you know, how do you close the deal effectively?
Oh, well, basically, I identify if these people can speak English or not. That's the first thing. Have they got the money to pay for the show? And are they interested in what I do? Because, you know, basically, if they're wanting to, for this, well, basically, for last year, it's easier to sell other people than it is yourself. And that's just, maybe it comes down to, you know, you need to be a bit of a hustler in anything that you do. I think it's easy to sell other people. However, it'll be a case of, do you like laughing? Can you understand what I'm saying? Do you speak English? You know, let's get in and enjoy the show. I hate the whole scenario of there's a flyer, no information. You know, there's 3,000 shows out there. There's multiple people doing the same thing. There's multiple people flyering. However, I'm not in a position to hire a flyer for me. I'll need to do it myself, and that's fine. However, I'm going to use that to my advantage because I'll be doing my crowd work in the street. When I go and perform to that audience, I'll already know who they are. I'll know my audience, so I don't need to worry about wasting time with crowd work. I can just get straight into my show and use the hour that I've got to deliver the show that I've worked on, and essentially just have fun with people in the street, learn something about them. And I think as long as you enjoy what you're doing, then you'll attract the people in. I mean, I might sound a bit mad. I enjoy flyering. I think I might be the only comic that enjoys it, but I think it gets you, you know, it breaks down the barriers before these people come in and see you. They're already your friend. If you've convinced them to come in, they already want you to do well. They've paid their money. They're spending the time with you. And, you know, you've spoke to them outside. So they're already, it's an easier gig because you've already invested that time in with them. And I enjoy selling. I enjoy the challenge. And yeah, I like talking to people. I like finding out about where they're from, why are they in Edinburgh, you know, how long are they there for, where are they, you know, if they travelled far. I love speaking to tourists, and I think it's a privilege when a lot of people are excited to meet. I could be the first Scottish person that they speak to and the first Glaswegian, and it's exciting. So yeah, I quite enjoy flying. It's part and parcel of the job. Obviously, you know, I would love to get to a level where I don't need to flyer for my show and I can actually concentrate on just delivering the show. You know, I would love somebody else to take over all the admin. Absolutely, that's the level I would aspire to be. However, at this moment in time, I'm flying myself, and I can either find it a pain in the ass and get down about it and feel stressed, or I can embrace the opportunity and, you know, use it as a crowd working experience and getting the audience that I want into the show. So yeah, I'm excited for it. I think it'll be a good laugh.
And in terms of timing and technique, in your head, you know, so with the 6:20 show, are you hitting people at about 5:30, you know, so almost that immediate kind of thing, or you kind of throughout the day kind of see me today, see me tomorrow, see me later in the month kind of thing?
Well, I'll be doing a couple of things. Basically, a lot of people who don't, what I've found is a lot of people who are going to a show of somebody they don't know. Maybe they like the poster, maybe they like the blurb, the show reel, maybe they like the person flying, whatever it may be. That's an impulse purchase. So most people, most people have an impulse purchase 20 minutes or so before the show starts, or even half an hour. That's the impulse buyers. Then you'll have people who want to be a wee bit more organised and maybe want to decide what they're doing later on in the day. So I would be targeting them in the afternoon. And other people want to plan their week. So it'll be a case of, if you've got a show already, you're going to the night, enjoy it. I hope you have a great time. I'm here for the full run. So if you're here, as I said, I'd be asking questions. How long are you in the area for? If you're here the rest of the week, or if you're here for a couple of days, I'm here every day. Why don't you come tomorrow? And I would try and secure sales for additional days. So that's kind of what worked when I was flying for other people. Is people are busy. People more so now. I think people are really organised, and there might be less impulse purchases. However, that doesn't mean that they can't come and see you on a different day if they're there. They're in Edinburgh anyway. So yeah, I think I'll probably start flying if my show's at 6:20. So I'm an hour away. So I'll make sure that I'm in Edinburgh by 4:00 as a minimum every day, just in case there's a train delay or whatever. And then flyer from then. However, I will be also doing lots of gigs to exit flyer so that the people who have saw me can come to my show. Now, my set that I'll be planning to do for these gigs will be completely different to my solo show so that people can get a different experience. So I'll be gigging like mad, exit flyering, and flying from 4:00 every single day. So that's how I plan to get people in, essentially.
I was looking through some of your posts on Facebook. You were kind of saying that, you're obviously comfortable being a stand-up, you're comfortable performing on stage, but kind of talking to camera for Instagram or anything like that kind of stuff, that doesn't come as easy. Is that difficult now? Because so much of any kind of comedian's promotion is that kind of thing, is kind of talking to camera, creating, for want of a better word, content.
Absolutely. Like, I've never really, I guess I grew up with quite a huge family, and I wasn't really that confident with computers. It was always like winner stays on, and I never won. So I've never really been great at like computing and social media. I didn't really have internet when I was a kid. I got my internet from a library, and I was kind of left behind, I guess, like in terms of the whole Facebook and social media stuff. And then I genuinely didn't understand why people were posting pictures of their dinner or whatever it might be. I just didn't feel the need for social media at all, and I just didn't get it. And then obviously falling into the whole comedy thing, I'm like, oh, I need to be on there. If I wasn't doing comedy, I wouldn't be on social media at all, I don't think. But it is hard. Like, I think putting yourself out there, speaking into a camera on your own in an empty room, it feels like madness. But I get that is the way the world is moving, and I need to get on board with that. So I am trying. Basically what I'm doing is I'm quietly confident, and I've been working away in the background, building up a good show. And and I'm glad that I've had the opportunity to do that. Whereas a lot of people who are got a huge social media followings, and maybe they're also on this comedy journey, there's a huge expectation for these people, and I think it must be harder to, have a huge venue sold out overnight, and then having to produce a show, which, good luck. Like, fair enough to all these people. Like, everybody's doing it their own way. Happy that I've had an opportunity to gain skills over 4 years, where I feel as if I'm in a really strong place to then put out some content. I'm basically trying to build up a catalogue of stand-up clips, but I guess that comes down to camera equipment, it comes down to time, it comes down to editing, it comes down to like basically a full-time job. And then to then have the time to go through it all and put it out. So I do think social media is its own, like, that's a huge thing that I need to try and learn, but it takes a lot of time, and obviously it is difficult. I think speaking to a room full of strangers and that stand-up comedy, that it's a live experience, it's only happening that night between you and a bunch of people. There's a social agreement there that, you're going to enjoy yourself for that length of time, and then that's it. And I think that's the joy of comedy. I think that's like the stuff that can only happen on that night. But then, it's almost like you need to change that to play to a camera. So you might have 200 people in the room, but you're playing to a mobile, hoping that it goes viral. I don't know. I don't kind of like that, but I know that's the world, and I need to get on board with it. So yeah, it's difficult. I think I do need to try and create the time and create the space to free up some time to come up with some sort of social media stuff. So yeah, I'm probably a bit behind in that. However, I'm grateful that I've been able to do the circuit and build up a bunch of skills, and then because the people who I admire, the people who I look up to, who do have a huge social media following and who put out clips regularly, they've all been doing it for years. They've got decades of material, they've got decades of content. And they know their voice, and they know what direction they're going in. So, I know that it's a long game. I know that social media will be here forever. And I know that will all come. At the moment, I'm focusing on the skills and the comedy and dealing with a crowd. And, when I first started comedy, I had people who were kind enough to tell me how to hold the microphone properly. I had never been on a stage before. So, it's all been a learning, but the social media aspect does not come naturally at all. Whereas I think standing on a stage, you can be anybody, and, it's a live experience, and that's what I really like about it. And I really enjoy the writing aspect. Maybe in the future I'll write for other people, who knows? But I think, yeah, the social media is tricky, and it's something that I need to put the time in. I mean, I work full time. I do over 40 hours a week. I gig at least 3 times a week. And then, writing your material, trying to submit articles or get, submit jokes to panel shows. It's a huge, it's like another full-time job to then add social media on top of that. Yeah, at the moment, I can only play the cards that I'm being dealt, and I can only do what I can do. I know that social media will come. Hopefully, once if I get a wee bit of exposure and I've got a good video clip that somebody else can clip up for me, or, I know that'll all come eventually. So yeah, I think it is the pressure to be online and be a content creator is huge. The audience is the people in the seats who've paid the money to come in and buy a ticket. That's the people who I want to win over. That's the people who matter, I guess.
Talking about writing there, so your British Comedy Guide piece was about kind of doing a day around TV writing and that kind of thing. I mean, how different did you find that to kind of stand up? Is it a completely different discipline? Or, I mean, obviously there's a fair amount of crossover, but did it feel quite different?
Yeah, it did feel a lot different. So I guess the writing experience I've had is I've wrote for a couple of bits for Breaking the News, which is a satire programme, and the Best in Class Writers' Day was all about scripted comedy. I found it quite difficult because you are speaking in the voice of several different characters. So as I stand up, I'm talking about my point of view, my experiences, my life basically is what makes up my comedy and my observations. Whereas scripted comedy, you're putting it into you're using different viewpoints and different characters. However, it was exciting as well. I've written a script. I've wrote my first pilot, and I really enjoyed it because it allows you to embellish and to create different scenarios, and it's definitely interesting. And I think the Best in Class Day was a bit of an eye opener, but there's still the statistics are terrible. There's hardly anybody in TV, writers or that are from a working class background. A lot of it is still nepotism. A lot of it is still the privileged middle class. I mean, comedy sometimes feels like it's an art form for rich people. I think there is a lot more to be done. The statistics, I think it was like 80% of people are non-working class or something like that. It's great that these things are in place. However, I think to get working class voices on the telly, be it writing or in script, would be better. I mean, there is a lot of programs I think it has came on, and obviously people who Scottish comedians who are working class, they've got their voices on it, and it's great to hear it. But I think there is a lot more that can be done. But yeah, I think scripted comedy is probably a wee bit more frustrating. It's something that I need to maybe work at a wee bit more. But it is good fun because you get to play all these different characters, whereas stand-up, you've only got yourself to worry about.
Talking about your work in progresses, I know you've got one down in London. Was that to kind of do it in front of a different kind of audience, or just you were kind of coming down to, was it kind of, I'm in London, let's do a gig, or...
Yeah, well, I used to work at my head office used to be in London, so I know the area quite well, and I know that what audiences that particular venue brings in. But I'll be honest, look, I think as an independent artist, if you can call it that, an independent act, I don't have a team bankrolling me as such. I need to fund all the work in progresses myself. I need to find them, source them, organise them, basically be an account manager to get these venues on board. And I was very fortunate to use existing relationships to get a lot of my work in progresses for free, which has been amazing. And then the London one, basically that came about from another comedian who is also going to London. Her name's Yvonne Hughes. She's doing a work in progress as well. She was like, look, I want to go to London. Obviously, we want to try it out. I've got a Glaswegian accent, and I know that when I'm on stage, I need to articulate a wee bit more so that people fully understand what I'm saying. And I've gigged in London before. I think the London audiences, it's always good fun in London. Edinburgh's very international, so I don't need to travel that far to get an international audience, but it's fun to go to different cities. And Yvonne was going, and I'll be honest, she's put it on her credit card, so I am working off a tick bill to fund it basically. But it's a different venue, and it's a chance to run out the stuff without anybody that you might know being there, so you're probably more freeing. Whereas I guess if you're trying to work up material in your own city and people have seen you before, that maybe got expectations, or you want to try something different, I think that the London audiences will be, I think it'll be a good gig to test the show fully. At that point when I go down, that should be a version of the show. I think it'll be a good laugh anyway. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to all the work in progresses. I think that I did ask a question. I'm like, how many work in progresses should somebody do? And it ranges from like 15 to however so many. And, you know, financially it's just too expensive. But I've done what I can, and I think when I get to the Fringe, my show will be, you know, I'll be able to put on the best show that I possibly can within the time frame I've been allocated. And I think the work in progresses will be great. And as I said, I've managed to get a couple of the venues on a really good deal, which means that I'm able to, the London fund will negate the cost that I would have spent on the rest of them, if that makes sense.
And I mean, when you're down, are you able to kind of try and tie it in with doing your regular set in other places at the same time, or are you kind of just focusing on the work in progress?
I'm just focusing on the work in progress this time. When I've been to London before, I usually get a megabus down, do a couple of gigs and get a megabus back. And basically, because my head office used to be in London, I would be able to go down during the week and I would get my accommodation and my flights paid for me. So I was able to pick up a lot of gigs whilst I was like after work, and benefited from networking and learning where the good gigs are and what to avoid. And then I moved jobs, and basically I'm like, oh no, I need to pay for this myself, and it was back on the megabus. But this time round, my show's at 8:30, so unless I was going to do like a later gig or an afternoon gig or whatever, then the times kind of clash. So I'll be focusing on my solo show, and I will be flying as well in London. Like, I know that Edinburgh is where you flyer. However, for my Glasgow shows, I fly up an audience in for some of those, and it is what it is. That's the level I'm at the moment. It probably would be easier if I just invest the time into social media, and that's something that I'm looking for longer term. But at this moment in time, in order for me to get a full room, like tomorrow or whatever, then I know that I need to go and speak to people, and that's what I'm doing. So when I go to London, I will be flying as well to get myself an audience. I'm hoping that the venue also promote me on their socials, and they're putting up posters and they're doing everything they can. It's a great venue. I've worked with them before, but you know, I know that when I go down there, I'll need to work hard to bring in an audience, and I'm prepared to do that. So I probably won't be picking up gigs in the afternoon unless it's a chance to exit flyer.
Are there parts of it, you know, like a little 5 minute or something that you can slip into your regular comedy set to kind of try bits out, or do you keep the two very separate?
No. Look, this is the thing. Like, I've been building up this show. I've done a version of this show at a couple of festivals. I've done the Leicester Festival in Glasgow last year. And basically, you know, if I was to separate my show, there is like, basically there can be club sets out of that as well. And I try out material at most gigs I do, even if it's one joke, one line, tweaking an idea. You know, although this show, you know, essentially the show that I'm debuting is a show I've been working on for 4 years, because every single gig I've tried something new, or I've been honing my material. And although the concepts might be different, or it might be more of a narrative because it's an the skills are the same and the joke structure's the same. So I think there's definitely parts of the show that I can do. Like if an opportunity came up for like Fast Fringe, or if an opportunity came up and they says, oh, we like your stuff, come and do 3 minutes on the radio, I've got it all. It's all planned, it's all prepared. And I'm sure I could take a snapshot at the show to promote it. And essentially perform it at a club set. So that's an option as well.
Just to finish, you want to kind of quickly say what the show is, when it is, and where people can find you online.
Okay, so the show is called Carted. It is at the Gilded Balloon at the Patter House Penny Room, 6:20 every day. It's your opportunity to come and see an original Scottish act. The show is about the funny side of failure, multiple arrests, how society judges you and how to accept it all and rise above it. It's a good laugh. I've got 4-star reviews for The Scotsman and various other publications, and this is a show that you can see every day. If you're in Edinburgh, please come along. If you're not, tell your granny, tell your ma, tell a colleague, anybody at all. Your enemies doesn't matter. Just if you've got eyes and a tenner for the ticket price, then you're welcome to join us. And I'm there every single day. Social media, you can find me on. I've got a TikTok that I keep forgetting. I've got that at Amanda Hursy. Instagram is the same, and Facebook's the same. I don't have anything else. I'm not on Twitter or anything like that. So Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, and I'll be at the Gilded Balloon every single day at 6:20, the best time on the clock I've heard. So I'd love to see you there.
Thanks to Amanda for taking part. You can find more details in the show notes about where to find Amanda online, as well as details about her Fringe show, and also where to find out more about the Best in Class project. Thanks for listening.